So, electric vehicles are finally here. They promise this incredible vision, right? A future with quieter, cleaner roads. But turning that vision into a reality for everyone, well, that comes down to solving one very big, very human fear. You know exactly what I'm talking about. That little knot in your stomach when you see your phone battery dip into the red and you're nowhere near a charger. It's a modern day panic we've all felt. Okay, but now let's blow that up. Imagine it's not your phone. Imagine it's your car. And just like that, it's not about missing a text message. It's about being stranded on the side of a road. That feeling, that specific fear, is the single biggest hurdle in this whole race to build our electric future. So let's unpack what that really means. It's a feeling so common and so powerful among anyone thinking about buying an EV that it actually has its own name. Yep, range anxiety. That's the technical term for it, and it is the heart of the problem. And the research is super clear on this. The more public chargers people physically see on their daily routes, the more confident they feel about making the switch to an EV. It's a pretty simple mental game, really. Seeing is believing. So who's on the hook for building all these chargers to calm everyone's nerves? Well, the solution is really a two-pronged attack coming from a couple of key players. On one side, you've got your public chargers. Think of these as the big guns, the ones you see along highways, at the mall, or in city centers. They're for everybody, and they're absolutely essential for long road trips and just proving to people that they won't get stuck. Then you have the private chargers. These are the everyday workhorses, the charger in your garage or at your office. They handle the daily commute. But here's the thing. It doesn't matter if a charger is public or private. They all have to follow the same playbook. In a place like Malaysia, for instance, every single charger that gets installed, from a personal one in a garage to a massive highway rest stop, has to meet some really strict safety and reliability standards from agencies like the Suruhanjaya Tenaga and SIRM. And trust me, when it comes to safety, there are absolutely no shortcuts. So if the solution seems so simple, just build more chargers, you've got to be asking, why aren't they on every street corner yet? Well, it turns out the whole rollout is hitting three pretty massive roadblocks. Let's break them down. You've got your technical tangles, you've got your policy puzzles, and of course, you've got the financial hurdles. First up, the technical stuff. Just imagine for a second if every gas station had a different kind of pump nozzle. It'd be total chaos, right? That's kind of what we're dealing with when it comes to competing charging standards. And then there's the grid itself. The big question is, can our current electrical grid even handle millions of cars plugging in at the same time? Seriously, will the lights stay on? Plus, actually deploying these things is slow, and all the gear needs to be certified, which creates a huge bottleneck. All right, next, let's talk about the policy puzzles, or, the red tape. There's this huge question of who should even be building this stuff. Is it a government job? Should private companies take the lead? Right now, the lines are super blurry. Take Malaysia again. Just to get one charger built, you might need approvals from the Road Transport Department, the safety standards people, and even the fire department. Yeah, it's a real bureaucratic maze. And last but definitely not least, you gotta follow the money, or the lack of it. Let's just be real for a second. These things are incredibly expensive to install and to keep running. And when you get public and private sectors working together, it's not always clear who's paying for what. At the end of the day, someone has to figure out a business model that actually makes money, or none of this is going to be sustainable. Okay, so that's a lot of problems. I get it. But the good news is people are actually solving them. From local city halls to huge global tech firms, the race is on to build out this grid. You're seeing governments really step up to the plate. You've got cities like Nantes in France, which are meticulously planning where to put chargers for maximum impact. And over in India, their FAME scheme is basically pouring fuel on the fire with big-time incentives to get more EVs and chargers made and sold. It just goes to show how critical that top-down leadership really is. Meanwhile, the private sector is doing exactly what you'd expect, innovating like crazy. We're talking about game changers here, like ultra-fast chargers that can juice up your car in the time it takes to grab a coffee. They're also creating these incredibly smart battery management systems, basically the battery's brain, to make sure it stays safe, efficient, and lasts for the long haul. But the real magic? It happens when these two worlds collide, when public and private sectors work together. This is where you really see the genius of it. The private companies bring the speed, the innovation, and frankly, the real estate, while the government brings the scale and the grand vision. And you can see this playing out right here in Malaysia. You've got massive players like Petronas with its Gentari arm, Shell, and the utility giant Tenaga National Berhad, all using their existing huge networks to roll out charging hubs. So, all of this points to one very clear conclusion for the future of how we get around. Look, the roadmap to get this done is all about teamwork. It really boils down to strong public-private partnerships, rock-solid government policies that encourage growth, a constant push for new tech, and this one's huge, making sure everyone knows exactly what their job is. No confusion. At the end of the day, this isn't a one-man or one-company show. I mean, one analysis we looked at put it perfectly. The whole thing requires a multifaceted approach involving both public and private sectors. So collaboration isn't just a nice-to-have, it's literally the only way this works. So the blueprint is there. We know what to do. But it leaves us with one massive question, right? Can these giant public and private organizations, which often have completely different goals, really team up and move at the lightning speed we need to make this electric dream a reality for all of us? The race is definitely on.